This season of Crazy Sexy Food is sponsored by KeyJ's. KeyJ's is an independent, family-run business that has been making specialty sauces for professional chefs and home cooks like myself since 1985. KeyJ's first launched with its Goldfish brand curry sauce concentrates. More recently, they launched Taste KeyJ's of Suffolk. Inspired by travels to wonderful destinations around the world, these are 6 authentic, quick and easy cook-in sauces and 4 Asian-inspired squeezy sauces. My particular favourites are the Spanish tomato sauce with its added paprika, as well as the Thai po chili sauce to rev up my meals. Order my favourites as well as the whole collection from keyjayssauces.co.uk. That's KEEJAYS sauces.co.uk. Hello and welcome to Crazy Sexy Food. I'm your host, Hannah Harley-Young. I'm interested not only in food, but the people behind the food and the stories behind the people. Each episode, I sit down and talk all things food with well-known personalities, industry insiders, and people who, well, just love their food. Today, I'm joined by a woman that exudes such sexiness without even trying. Caroline Vreeland is a woman so unapologetically herself, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want just an ounce of her vivacity, her joie de vivre. A singer, a model, an actress, a muse, her talents hold no bars. As the great-granddaughter of the infamous fashion editor Diana Vreeland, Caroline is carving her way as a multifaceted phenomenon. Not only does she own the aforementioned talents, but she first caught my eye through her evocative and sexy love of food. Her Instagram is dotted with suggestive and pleasing imagery of her favourite things to do: eat pasta and drink wine. My kinda girl. Caroline puts the sexy into crazy sexy food, so she is just the most perfect guest for me to have on. Thank you for joining me, you sexy mama.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. What a beautiful, that was very nice to hear that.
Oh, of course.
Thank you.
Should we just kind of give the viewers the viewers, well, they're not viewing, thank God, because we're just kind of like keep them on the edge of their seats. But the listeners, you and I, we have the most beautiful cleavages between us out in the open.
Honestly,
she's sitting seductively in bed for me. I mean, I kind of wish I was there.
You're there in spirit.
I'm there in spirit. And you're eating. What are you eating?
You have a nice little cleavage situation. I'm sorry you guys can't see this.
You.
It's very, very appealing. I fucked up, babe. Okay, because I ordered a bagel and cream cheese, and I'm a purist, really, when it comes to my bagels and a lot of other things that I like to eat. But I like just a scallion cream cheese, everything bagel with the middle scooped out, extra toasted. Now, in a wild fit of, I don't know what I was thinking, I added avocado. It's sliding out. It's falling onto the plate. It's not working. And I'm really sorry that to bring that kind of energy to this meeting. Normally I don't take risks like that, but.
Do you know what my only issue? You're absolutely right. I feel like avocado has the potential to just slide out, and I get very irritated when things deconstruct.
Me too. Yeah. So as you see here, I've sort of dismantled it, and now I'm just pissed.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We'll make it
I have a backup.
By the end of this chat, you're going to be.
I have my
She's just pulled the goldfish out.
When all else fails.
When all else fails. So you are in New York right now, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. I'm in Brooklyn.
Which is my favourite city in the world. How long have you been out there? Because I thought you were a West Coast girl.
I am a West Coast girl in my heart. I was born and raised in Northern California. Then I was in LA 10 years. Then I did this random thing where I fell in love with a Cuban and moved to Miami. Very strange. But then I realized in being in Miami that the East Coast was much more convenient. I was going to Europe a lot, and it just made more sense to be on the East Coast. So I said, fuck it, I'll do New York, which I never thought I'd do. Not really a New Yorker. And I did it. But I'm in Brooklyn, so it's a bit different. It's a little bit more like LA in that it's quieter. But like I said, it's the center of the universe. So in order to get to, it's the same distance to get to you as it is to get to LA.
Yeah, totally.
LA's
to be honest with you, if I moved back to New York, because I used to live on and off in New York in my 20s, I would move to Brooklyn happily. I love it.
Me too.
Have you been to London?
I have.
What do you think of it?
I think it is very expensive and everything takes forever. You're always in an
Really?
hour-long taxi, I feel.
Yeah, we got quite a lot of traffic in this city.
I do love it though. I have a cousin who's a chef at this
Oh,
place
okay.
called the Greenhouse in Mayfair. Do you know about that?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
he
How
he was like
funny.
the punk of our family. He was in like a rock band called Yellow Snow. He was like everyone's like, "What's up with Alex Dilling?" He's like he was really a punk. Now he is a Michelin star chef. He is so the things he makes are so intricately beautiful. I mean, I'm very impressed. So every time I go to London, I always kind of go in there with like it's a super fancy place and I kind of go in there with like my backpack and like a little bit of like
Love it. I
a
love
rock
it.
and roll edge and everyone's like, "Hmm." But yeah. So, but I do love London. I don't
Yeah.
go enough for pleasure. I go for work. I'll be there for a
Mm.
performance or something, and I'll only have a couple days. But I would love to come and spend like a week doing
You
nothing.
need to come and spend a long weekend with me, Caroline. I'll show you the ropes.
Okay, I like that.
So you briefly mentioned that you spent a lot of your childhood in the West Coast. Talk to me about your childhood. What were you eating? Who was cooking? Was food important? What was on the table? Just give me the whole story.
Um, I remember having very early on this relationship with food that was different than my friends because I would go to friends' houses for dinner and you would have this thing of you have to drink a glass of milk. You must finish your meal. And I always thought that was so strange. My mom was always like, if you're hungry, eat. If not, don't. Like there was never pressure with food, which I think is an interesting concept because now in my life, everyone's always saying, how do you eat all this? And I just eat what I want and then I stop when I want. I don't have a strange relationship, which I feel very lucky for. I know a lot of people have that with control and different things, but that was one of my first memories is my mom was like so easygoing about it. She was always cooking for us. Nothing fancy. I mean, we would have salmon, steak, pasta. And I remember I was always the one my mom's a great cook. My grandparents are great cooks. My sister's an amazing cook. But I was the one who kind of would just be like helping to slice stuff, but then like stealing bites. And they would always get mad at me because I would always eat all the ingredients before the meal was done. And then I'd have like 3 bites and be like, I'm full. So I guess I was kind of the odd man out in my family because I was the only one not cooking. But the quarantine has changed me, and
Oh.
now I love to
Oh,
cook. My boyfriend's a
really?
great cook too, so yeah, we have this thing in Canada where in Montreal where we're living, um, where it's like Blue Apron where you order all the perfect amount of the ingredients and you cook the thing yourself. So that was my little gateway.
So what have been some of your specialities this year?
Well, aside from that, because I have learned a lot from that, but what I do make well is a sick tuna melt. I'm very proud of
Oh,
my
I
tuna melt.
love a tuna melt. Oh
Yep.
my God. Okay, talk to me through that process.
Well, I always do 2 cans because I know that we're going to end up using a little bit for later. My secret is that I always add a tiny bit of hot sauce and a tiny bit of balsamic, a
Oh,
lot of lemon, lots of pepper.
yeah.
And you have to have a very, very dank sourdough that you're going to put it on. And then, of course, the sharp cheddar melted on
Mm.
top. Green onion goes in there as well. Serve with a little cornichon.
Oh, yes. And also, a lot of people really offend me when they don't melt the cheese properly. Like that cheese needs to be
Don't give me a
melting. It needs
half
to be
congealed.
dripping down the
Yes.
sides. Like
Yes.
I kind of want to burn my tongue on it, you
Yes,
know?
I do. I very much do too. I was one of those kids who wouldn't eat anything if it was green, and definitely super annoying. All my food had to be like perfectly white. And my sister one time had to pin me down on the floor and force feed me a bite of pesto. I said, I want nothing to do with this green thing. Get this out of here. I had one bite of pesto. I ate pesto only for the next 2 years straight. I would go on a flight to visit my dad in Europe and I would bring a Tupperware of my pesto I couldn't have anything else. I kind of go
No
through
way.
phases like that. I mean, I get obsessed with things. So
I mentioned in the intro your great grandmother was Diana Vreeland. Obviously, she sadly passed away when you were quite a small child. Has there been any part of her that has kind of been ingrained in your life in terms of inspiring your career path, your life ethos? Because she was such a character.
I get asked this question a lot, and the answer always remains the same. I think I have her fearless capability to just take risks. She was not she was raised her whole life to be told you're not as pretty as your sister, you're not going anywhere with your life, like all that matters is beauty. And she was like, fuck that. She completely paved her own way. And I don't know, I think that gave her this unabashed kind of freedom and risk taking. And I have that. I mean, even in the negative sense, I was the kind of the kid that would like pull down your pants and moon your butt to the teacher. Like I just was like, I hate to compare that to Diana Vreeland, but I really feel that I have her fire.
Yeah.
And I've always had this overwhelming sense of the light at the end of the tunnel. You know, I always think there's going to be a way out. There's always going to be a better tomorrow. And so with that in mind, I'm able to take those risks, and I don't have fear as much as I think other people in my life or people in my family, they have this fear of security, this fear. I'm like, I'll sleep on a park bench till I can make it happen. Like, I'm like, I move forward, you know, and I think I really got that from her.
Not many people have that quality. And I kind of admire people like that, because I sort of, there's like, I feel like I'm like split. There's like the side of me, a friend of mine actually said this to me. They were like, you're either really like sensible Sally, or you're like the raving Hannah Harley that just goes fucking
Hannah Harley.
wild. Well, I was named after a bike, darling.
Sexy. Take a ride.
Yep, my dad was a Harley rider, but my dad photographed Diana Vreeland.
Really?
Yes.
So this is, you guys, she was teasing me and telling me we had some connection.
Yes.
And now here it is, out with it.
Yeah.
So explain.
So my father is quite a well-known photographer in the UK. He was the first celebrity photographer in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
He's got the most incredible photos of your great-grandmother with Warhol and Bianca Jagger.
Okay, I need these. This is
So it's so lovely to be with you and be like, hey,
I can't wait to see.
No, I'll send you some. They're fabulous photos.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Like, that is sort of the feeling I had when I met Michael Avedon. We did a shoot together for Lampoon in Milan, and it felt, you feel it. Even when I met Anna Cleveland, like, you feel that generational kind of tug. And it's nice. So it's cool that we're connecting and that they did too.
Totally. I obviously mentioned in the intro, you're a very multifaceted woman. I want to talk about the music, because you've shown love for this form of art since like the age of 8. What is it about music that does it for you?
Gosh, I mean, my earliest memory was that I knew exactly what I wanted to do from such an early age. There was never any question. There was never any in between. Like, I did well in school, but I knew I was like, after high school, I want to start my life. Like, nothing else was in my path. I always knew I was going to do music. And I guess writing songs sounds cliche a bit, but it's really my outlet, because for better or for worse, I only really write from a negative place. When I've gone through something bad and I don't know how to process it, I'm able to then, you know, take pen to paper and build something that essentially becomes beauty out of that negative. And that's kind of always been just my release with it. So if anything, I'm very grateful to it, because it's a form of therapy for me. I don't really exercise any spirituality, or I literally don't exercise. So I need this transition of energy. And that is that for me.
They say that the most beautiful art comes from pain. So you're onto something there.
My boyfriend's pissed. He's like, we're in love. Where's my song? I'm like, I don't know how to write about how I'm happy and having great sex. Like, hold on, I'll figure it out. That's my next. No, this really is my next goal, is to write like a happy. I'm going to be in LA in January, and I have a bunch of recording sessions set up. So my goal is like, don't drink whiskey, drink tequila. It'll keep you up. I'll be happy.
Absolutely.
Figure it out. So I'm still learning a lot.
This was your first album you released this year, which was Notes on Sex and Wine, which, may I say, is a fabulous title.
Thank you.
So was this was written from quite off the back of quite a troubled time, if I'm correct?
Yeah, those were the not mistake. I should not say that. Of course not. But that was my little Miami situation. I was not in a very happy relationship.
Yeah.
But it did fuel the album, so I'm grateful for that.
And may I just say, I only watched a few days ago your Stay Drunk With Me video, and the funniest thing happened. So I'm watching it and I'm like...
You know someone in it.
No. I was there sitting at my desk, minding my own business, watching this video, basically saying that I need to be friends with this woman because I think she's incredible. And why I'm not in the video, I don't know why. Anyway, my husband is sitting across from the room and because I've got it like playing out of my laptop, he's like, what is happening? This song is turning me on.
Yes, I turned on my husband. That's cool.
And I was like, I'm doing research. Calm down, boy.
Yay, oh, makes me so happy. Did you notice how the guy in the beginning that pours my wine after I push him down under the table, he has been down there doing you know what?
I know. I noticed it.
I'm like, it's very subtle. It's just basically just a big wipe of it.
I saw it at the end. Nothing passes me, Caroline. Nothing passes me.
I like that about you.
I liked that. It's so those little touches that I like.
It's more than a little touch.
Well, I'd like to ask you that. So, aside from the music, you're very big on the fashion scene. How do you find the industry?
I forgot about it. I mean,
yeah,
it's
true.
I know, of course, they're gonna blaze through, but I mean, Fashion Week and all those jobs with different brands and designers, it seems like a different life. I mean, it was only, or maybe it's been a year, I guess, already, but it's a challenging industry. But I do think it goes hand in hand with music. And at the risk of sounding like I'm biting the hand that feeds me, like, it's obviously not first place in my heart, but it is in my blood, and I'm lucky to be involved in it. But it's interesting because I think musicians often try to get into the fashion world. That's always kind of a segue that happens. And I had the opposite, where I was doing my music, but I was not known for that. And then I had the option of being in this world and working in the fashion industry. But then I tried to redirect the energy to show, hi, I've always been doing music. This has been, at the forefront of my life. And it was hard for people to realign and realize that. So I have this kind of unique relationship with it where I'm like grateful to be invited in. Like I said, it's very much an elitist world, which is something I don't like about it. Fashion should really be for everybody. But, and I think that's what Diana Vreeland stood for. But anyway, I have this kind of unique relationship with it where it did support me. I didn't have to work in a nightclub anymore. I didn't have to bartend. I didn't have to do all those other jobs, to make rent. So in that way, I'm grateful for it. But it was a big hurdle for me to try to show people, like, actually, I've been doing music all along, and this is what I really care about. So
why did you feel like this was the time to kind of start, like, focusing on that? Was that maybe like a confidence thing, or was it just this was the right time?
I mean, I had always been focusing on it. This album that I released is like the fourth one I've written in a big body of work, but this is just the first one I've put out. So I just wasn't, music was costing me money, I was, and the other thing was making me money. So I lost track a little bit. And finally I was getting on my feet. I was in my early 20s, and starting to kind of be independent. And I don't know, I think I got caught up in it. It's definitely a whirlwind, a beautiful whirlwind, but something that takes you all around the world, and then you kind of lose sight of I was trying to, do recording at night and other things during the day, but when you're out of town for 3 months for Fashion Week or whatever, you're not as focused.
What I really admire about you is this sort of incredible confidence and this unapologetic attitude that I've sort of touched on, especially when it comes to your body. And I know we were talking just before we started recording about our mutual, what should we call this? Our mutual boobies?
Mm-hmm.
Our mutual boobies? Does that even make sense?
Yeah, I love it.
Basically, we both have large bosoms and yours are just, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just like staring at you. I mean, it's amazing. Especially in the fashion industry, how do you feel about the pressures as a woman to potentially look a certain way, to conform to certain ideals? Because I think why I keep saying that I admire you, because I've really struggled with mine.
Yeah.
There have been times where I really have thought about going to have them reduced.
Me too.
And I still haven't really, that may happen, I don't know. But how do you get around that? How have you got around that?
At first it was a big deterrent, especially in fashion. I remember being on a shoot. It was my first ever shoot. It was for Vogue Italia, and it was with Michelle Comte, and I did like 2 hours of hair and makeup. I had this huge beehive thing happening, and I'm looking over at the rack, and it's a swim thing. And I'm like, none of this stuff is going to ever even cover an areola over here. Okay. I don't know what I'm going to do. We get me into like the biggest possible thing that we had. I come into the shot, and he literally stands there for 20 minutes, and he's like talking to all his assistants. He's like, he's like, I love you, but I can't do this. I can't shoot you. And I had to leave the set, my first ever like big shoot.
God.
And the next thing I did was with Corinne Reutfeld in Paris. And, you know, when she called me and called my agent, I said, you know, does she know about the situation because of what happened last time? She said, honey, this whole shoot is about that. It's about you as you. We're making bras. We're having bras made. And that was what really turned my mind, because Diana Vreeland did that too, though. She was always the one to say, like, I want to see the profile of Barbra Streisand's nose on the cover. I want to see Mick Jagger's lips. It's like, I started to realize that this was such a big part of who I was, literally big part of who I was, that I wasn't going to ever try to change. And I wasn't going to try to downplay it or hide it, because it's there. There's nothing, you know, if that's another lesson too that I've learned over the years, is that if you ever have something to own, you own it first, and then no one can say shit to you. You know what I mean? And so I made it my thing. I would never want boobs this big. Are you crazy? My dream is to have that low cut dress, you know, that comes to here with no bra. That's not.
Oh, do you know what? That is like my dream.
It's a dream.
Is to just walk out
Well, what about
with no bra and just allow them to just sit and flow.
Sit and flow. Ours are just more of like the hang and wave.
What size are your boobs?
I'm a 32F. I sounded so tired.
That's rich. Do you know what it is? Because your frame is because you're much slimmer than I am. Because I'm a 32, it depends, but a 32G. But I think because if I bring, guys,
there they are.
Down to show her my full, like, but yeah, I don't know. It's taken me a very long time to like fully accept them.
It's not, whenever I start to feel like, okay, I feel a little sloppy, you know, that feeling, or you're like, you know, something's not going to fit. It's like always in the back of your mind. I started to realize one thing that a friend of mine who has nothing said is like, you can fill out a dress and you feel like a woman. That's always in the forefront of my mind, is that even though it's not, we don't know how the other half lives, the feeling of knowing we can fill out a dress and feel feminine, that I really like. And I like the lines associated with it. Like I used to hate when they hang from the side and it looks like a National Geographic situation. Now I'm like, don't edit out that hanging side boob. I like it. Like you just learn to
I know what you mean.
Appreciate it a little bit.
Yeah. I think, do you know what it is? When I'm wearing something that's tight and bodycon, that I do look at myself and I'm like, I'm a woman.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was given these and they're a gift, and there are people out there who are spending thousands of pounds
exactly to try to get this,
and the grass is never bloody greener, so whatever, just live with it, Hannah, and shut up, basically.
And I'm sure your husband has no qualms.
He has no qualms. And that's how I'll leave it.
Yeah, it's not easy to like love your body. It's not an easy thing to do.
No.
So,
but I think, you know what, there's also no such thing as perfection. It's like, if I had my boobs done, they'll then be something else, and it just becomes a slippery slope.
Right.
One thing that I love about the way you portray yourself on social media, on Instagram in particular, is that you show every part
you. I have
of
no
yourself.
Fucking shame.
You are completely unfiltered. No, but you're completely unfiltered in this very filtered world. You know, you will show yourself crying. You will show yourself angry. You'll obviously show yourself happy and having your best life. Why is that important to you?
It's so important to me. Think about all the other people we fucking follow. Think about how they're like, here I am with a latte. So, no offense, shout out to the lattes, whatever you guys want to do, like to each their own. But like a lot of those people that I know that portray that life, I know that their life isn't like that. And it's so not interesting to see this perfect thing that they think the world wants to see. So I try to show, I don't know, I think it's humbling. I liked, my old manager called me. He's like, no one needs to see that you're throwing up because you have salmonella. This is an instance of what you do not need to film. I'm like, I don't know why, for better or for worse, I just have this ability to just bear all. I don't know. And social media is such a crazy thing in our lives now, and it controls so much, and we have to be careful, of course. But it's been such a tool for me to be able to show who I am and the story behind. And when it comes to all the music, like I know that when people listen to Notes on Sex and Wine, they know what the songs are about because they saw me going through it. I was literally sitting on the floor in the living room in Miami, chugging 2 bottles of wine, being like, what is my life? So I like that there's the ability to tie that in, and you can hear where the music's coming from, because music is so intimate. But it's when you sit in for a writing session, you're kind of putting into you're putting a whole experience into 3 minutes. And I love that. Trust me, it makes it more universal, and I love the process. But sometimes I like to kind of take a step back. And when I listen to other songs of artists I like, I'm trying to pick through and see, okay, I know this about their lives. Was this about this? I think it's interesting. And being able to, when I show everything that's going on social media, I think that kind of hopefully will tie into like the story of what I'm writing about. And I mean, you only can write from what you know, but I think it's really important to show the good, the bad, the ugly. I like that. It's more interesting. It's sexier.
It's real life. I can identify more with that than, no offense to the latte crew, but to the latte crew.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, I love a latte, but not every day. Anyway, something else that obviously you put on your Instagram is your total love for food, pasta, wine. Can we just talk about your photos? Because I need to know the secret to a Caroline Vreeland food selfie. When I try and take a picture of myself with pasta coming out of my mouth, I look like Shrek. So, what is the secret? Because I haven't seen anything more sexy.
Well, you're sweet. So the first secret is, if you're having dinner and you want this picture taken and you're not the one actually taking it, the person across from you is taking it, they have to be willing to get the shot. Now, it's so annoying when you have to ask someone to help you with a photo. My boyfriend, I've trained him. He knows to sneak up on me with the camera. Take the picture when I'm not looking. I am always looking.
So you want it quite candid.
Yes. Otherwise, it becomes kind of a whole pony show, dog and pony show. So I would say the first thing is to have someone who is willing to just snap, 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 and not irritated by it, because that doesn't ever make the shot nice, because then you feel weird about asking. And the next thing is enjoy it. Feel like there should be a big smile. There should be the joy of food. That's why I eat, is because I love to eat. I have friends that just eat for fuel. My best friend, Ryan, he's like grossed out by food. He's like, I will force myself to eat a banana because I know I have to. But for me, there's a joy in it. I like to go and I close my eyes when I have the bite. I cried once in Greece over a piece of garlic bread. I broke up with a guy one time because he did not allow me to order a second order of meatballs at the restaurant that I love the meatballs. But the point is, you have to have that joy. You have to feel that moment where I did. He was, he's good. Dead to me.
Okay.
But you need to close your eyes and feel that feeling. And when you can capture that and that comes out in the photo, I think that makes it great. Who cares if there's a piece hanging out, or you look at with a crazy eye, or there's a wine stain here? That's all good stuff. But as long as you can feel the joy of loving food, then I think the picture will be great.
I genuinely think this was the best photography tutorial I've ever had. And I studied photography at university. I know you've kind of mentioned about your relationship with food, but on a day-to-day basis, what is Caroline Vreeland eating?
Good question. When I wake up, I like my coffee black, or maybe with like a little bit of almond milk. And then I'm a total purist when it comes to my toast. I need either sourdough or rye, plain piece of toast. I want a lot of salted butter, a squeeze of lemon, a dash of salt, and that's it. That's my ideal favorite breakfast. When I'm in Germany or I'm having breakfast with my dad, I'll do the whole like cheese spread and the charcuterie stuff. Like that's a very German way to eat. But normally for me, it's just the bread, the butter, the salt, and the lemon. And then at lunch, I guess that's when I'll do my pasta, And then sometimes at dinner, my boyfriend makes me the best green salad ever, and it's covered in raw garlic, which is not great for our digestion, but it's my favorite.
No, but it's great on the tongue and the lips and in the mouth.
It's my favorite. I was eating so much raw garlic during the quarantine that I will spare you the gory details, but something inside me broke. Like I literally went to the ER during COVID and showed them my, what, and I was like, help. My body was rejecting
No
me. I was
way.
eating a full bulb a day, raw. Like, what is that? I thought, it's good for my heart. I have high cholesterol. So I'm like, it'll help.
I was about to say, but also garlic has very good health benefits.
When it needs to not be raw. And if you do it
Right,
raw,
okay.
it needs to be in like limited quantities. I learned that the hard way. Please
I feel like the
help
way that you
yourselves.
eat garlic is the way that I eat hot sauce.
Oh my God, I'm addicted. And then so usually he'll just make me my little green salad for dinner. And I've cut out red meat pretty much. I mean, I'll still have a pepperoni pizza because fuck you if you don't have a pepperoni pizza. It's the best.
Damn right.
So I'll have it in little bits, but I don't really eat red meat anymore. I'm obviously a big salmon lover, and you're looking at it, bread, cheese,
And it's looking
garlic.
good. All the good things in life.
Yes,
The biggest question of the day is going to be pizza or pasta.
pasta. But I'll let you in on a secret that I don't tell many people. My favorite food isn't pasta.
What is it?
My favorite food.
My mouth is dropped.
My favorite food is garlic bread.
Really?
I know. Pasta's right up there. Pasta's second for sure. And the garlic bread can't be this fucking pansy shit where they take the bread and
No.
there's barely any like sink. I like the oil to really
Yeah.
sink.
Yeah.
So yeah, garlic bread is my favorite food more than pasta. But keep it between us.
Wow. Okay. I sort of like don't even know what to say. I feel like I need to like stop the whole chat right now and kind of process
You never
everything.
speak to me again. You're like, fuck you.
Delete her number. I mean, I kind of see what you're saying. I don't know how to process this.
I guess I will say that I love my pasta, but a good bite of garlic bread is, I think it's such a game changer. That's all I'm saying. Okay, take it or leave it.
Where is the best garlic bread you've ever had?
The best I've ever had is, this sounds so crazy, but I was working at this stupid nightclub called Sound. All the managers there had a Napoleon complex, too tight suits, would ask you to do crazy shit. Anyway, point is, I got fired from every club I ever worked at because I had an attitude. Can you imagine? Anyway, I would go before work, which is funny because I'd eat garlic bread before. I'm like, would you like to buy a bottle of Ace of Spades? They're like, get this bitch out of here. There's a restaurant next to Sound in LA, in Hollywood, called Michelli's. It's like this old school kind of like grimy place where they've worked for like, all the guys have worked there for 100 years. I don't even think I've even had dinner there. I just take away the garlic bread and it's this sourdough cut into these thick, dense pieces. And there's oil all the way through and there's garlic on every bite. And that is my favorite garlic bread in the world. Michelli's in Hollywood.
Oh my God, I'm actually salivating.
I know. There you go.
And do you make a good garlic bread?
I do. I also make a very good pesto, but because the main ingredient on both is the garlic, a lot of people can't hang. And I tend to be able to finish off the portion all by myself because I overdo it a little bit.
You and I really need to hang out.
I like that.
I'm just like sitting here and I'm just thinking all these, like, I mean, obviously mainly on a food level, but it's just very funny because the way you talk about food is very similar to how I have conversations with even just with myself. So
where would you take me for pasta if I came to London?
Okay, so one place that is absolutely mind-blowing is, and there's a few now in London, it's a place called Padella.
Okay, I haven't heard of it.
And there's maybe like 8 different pastas on the menu. That's all they sell pretty much. And actually, I think they do a garlic bread. The portions are very small. So you'll order all 8.
Yeah, you'll have the whole flavor profile and not feel too.
Oh yeah, and I'm literally getting on that table and doing a whole Instagram shoot with you for that. Like, we're literally going to get on all 4s, all 8 plates. I would probably say there, but if you want like proper traditional Italian, gosh, do you know what? I don't think I've actually found... There's a few beautiful local Italians close to where I live in West London that I really love, that do a delicious, just simple...
the way Italian is done best is simply, I find.
Yeah, simple. It's just a tomato sauce with pesto on top, actually, which is really delicious. A place called Essenza near Portobello in Notting Hill.
I'm sure when you go in there, they're like, she's coming. She has the sexy food podcast. Get it ready for her. And they like make it perfect for you because they know you're going to talk about it on air.
Damn right.
You've really set yourself up for a great situation over there. I need to start a food podcast. And they'll be like, she's here. bring her everything she wants.
Literally. Yeah.
That's the reaction I require when I enter a restaurant.
I'll be honest with you though, the best pasta I've ever had was in Rome.
Of course, cacio e pepe from Rome. It's the best. It's a bet. Yeah, and it's honestly every place.
Off the radar.
It could be on the corner of the street. Like, it doesn't even need to be the fancy restaurant. It's just great. The wine is cheap. The men fawn all over you. Caroline, so sexy.
Everything.
Like,
I mean, literally everything. I could live in Rome happily. Aside from cooking, let's just take it back to pre-COVID days. Where are some of your favorite restaurants?
Here in New York, my staple is Frank's, Little Frankie's, in the Lower East Side. That's where I get my limone pasta. And we have a funny relationship because I went to his wedding actually last summer, and I was the only person invited that was a patron of the restaurant. Like, everyone else was friends and family, but I went there so much that we established a relationship. So that's my number one. I love to go to Lucien across the street and have martinis. Let me think about here in Brooklyn. I mean, Lilia is amazing for pasta in Brooklyn. There's a little place in Fort Greene I love called Dino, and I go and I have my little Peroni and my niçoise salad with my book. And I just discovered a new place called Osteria Brooklyn, and it's all over on Myrtle. And he made it through the quarantine, you know what I mean? And they're like building the terrace outside, and he's like very like, I think he told me he's from Sardinia, and he's very kind of like wanting everything to be perfect. And I'm the only one eating in there so far, because I think people are just a little scared to keep going out to eat. So that's a really nice vibe, and the pasta's amazing. Yeah, but I've been more and more proud of cooking for myself lately, which I never thought I would say. I thought I was like the kid that would never grow up, you know. But now we like.
I feel like this year has kind of forced everybody to.
It really has. Now I keep plants alive.
Hands on in the kitchen. Yeah.
What's that?
Totally. Right. I finished my chats with a few quick fire questions.
Love it.
So, my favorite snack in the entire world is a packet of crisps, which is a packet of chips for you guys. What's your favorite flavor of chips and why?
I'm not a chip person. Can I choose Triscuits?
What are Triscuits?
Triscuits. They are like wheat woven crackers with salt. That and a sharp cheddar is my snack.
So they're like savory though. They're like little, just like savory crackers.
Yes.
You're allowed to pass on that one.
Okay.
You're allowed to do
Thank
that.
You.
I must say I'm very partial to a goldfish. I know you're eating them, but that's what
I grew up on goldfish, and white cheddar cheese popcorn. Grew up on that too.
Oh my God, I love that stuff. They still don't have it in the UK. I can't believe it.
Oh, I'll ship you some.
It's mad.
It's in my bones. I have eaten so much of it. Yes. But it's funny because in Montreal, where my boyfriend's living, they're obsessed with this ketchup chip thing. Did you guys know about that? Ketchup chips.
Okay. It's so funny.
Gross.
You say this. So I have another guest, I think, So I just recorded with a guy called Jared, who is the man that owns Too Faced Cosmetics. Mm-hmm. He's one of my guests on the podcast. And he kept talking about these ketchup chips.
You can't do it.
I've never heard of them.
It's a thing. Everyone goes crazy for it in Montreal.
It's mad. My auntie lives there. I need to get her to send me some because I just can't envision it. What is the craziest food you've ever eaten?
I'm not very adventurous with weird things. So I guess I would say a snail, which my boyfriend's French. He's going to be like, that's not crazy. But yeah, I guess a snail. Sorry, that's not very exciting.
No, to be honest with you, that's probably going to be mine, especially because I actually have a huge phobia of snails. So I'm taking that one.
His grandparents used to make him, him and his sister, when they were young, my boyfriend, find the snails, put them in a box of lavender for like a day, and then they would eat the ones they found. So French.
So French. What has been your most memorable meal?
I would say when I got my wisdom teeth taken out and I could only have Jamba Juice for 3 days, the first thing I ate after that was my grandmother came over. I remember she came over specifically, and her and my mom both made me a sage butter ravioli, and they both worked on it. And it was the first taste of food after those fucking things were in my mouth for 3 days. And that was the best thing I've ever had, for sure.
Okay, next question. What is your... well, we know the answer to this. What is your favorite food?
I already bust my nut with that one, babe. I already let that cat out of the bag.
You went in too early.
Sorry.
That's the old garlic bread. Okay, and your final question, and I also probably know the answer to this as well. Live to eat or eat to live?
Live to eat. Live to eat.
Good girl.
Live.
Good girl.
It's not a choice, it's just the way I am, man. No, food to me, the ceremony of opening a bottle of wine with friends, the idea of literally breaking bread at the table and just talking and discussing things and being amongst like-minded people, that is also, the reason to eat, aside from the taste being delicious.
Of course. No, I think it's the whole experience. I always say this to people. It's not just about the food on the table. It's about the people that you're with. It's the place where you're at. It's the whole dance.
Exactly.
Caroline, this has been a pleasure.
You're so sweet.
I can't believe it's taken this long for us to meet. I hope that we will be friends for a long time. I can't wait to get over to America and for us to go and eat and drink to our heart's delight.
Well, if you come to LA, I'll get you tacos and strip clubs. That's my little LA. The best tacos and the best strip clubs.
I love tacos. I'm surprised we haven't spoken about tacos, actually, because tacos are like very high up there after my pasta and pizza.
Me too. Mexican's my number 2.
You can follow Caroline on social media at Caroline Vreeland. Until next time.
Oh, thank you. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you for listening this week. If you love what you hear, please subscribe and leave a lovely review. And if you can't get enough of me, follow me on Instagram at Crazy Sexy Food, and do visit the Crazy Sexy Food YouTube channel where there are plenty of shows for you to watch. Until next time, bye.